54% of United States oil produced by independent producers. An amazing statistic. And 85% of that is natural gas. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Joining me now is Bruce Vincent, president of Swift Energy, headquartered right here in Houston. He's also the immediate past chairman of the Independent Petroleum Association of America. Mr. Vincent, thank you this morning. Kind of weird calling you Mr. Vincent since I've known you for so long.
Well, it's great to be here, Canberra. We're delighted.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the issues that a lot of people aren't really familiar with. For example, gas prices. They've been going up quite a bit, it seems, over the recent months or weeks. Why is that happening?
Well, gasoline prices is principally tied to the price of crude oil. And one of the things that we don't see as much in America is when the media talks about the price of crude oil, they reference West Texas Intermediate, or WTI, which is roughly around $100. Mm-hmm. But the real world price of crude is really referenced off of Brent, which today is roughly $116. There's a significant discount to what WTI is priced at because that's priced at Cushing, Oklahoma. And the real price that's working its way into the consumer, whether it be products, the fabrics that they make our clothes out of, or principally gasoline that we drive our cars with, is really tied to the world price of crude. The East Coast refiners, the Gulf Coast refiners are paying prices that are more reflective of the Brent pricing than WTI.
So it's the world price. So that, in essence, if I think about that, then when I see on television the problems that are going on in the Mideast, can that impact the price of the world price and the crude that's being paid, and that will ultimately affect us a little bit more?
Absolutely. It puts a political risk premium on the price of oil because of the uncertainty over supply. All that turmoil in the Middle East creates a certain risk premium that's priced into crude oil. If you had the perfectly peaceful world, the price of crude would come down substantially.
Now, what's going on now? Have you noticed over the last few weeks the price of crude reacting to the things that are going on in the Straits of Hormuz, for example, and Iran's saber rattling and that sort of thing?
It does, but most of that reaction, particularly when Iran comes out and threatens to close down the Straits of Hormuz, you'll see maybe a quick reaction to it, but then the markets settle down and discount that. Much of that is more talk, substance, and I think the market quickly realizes that. But short term, you can see that volatility. There's much more volatility in the commodity markets today than there probably has been in a long time.
You know, Houston, of course, is often referred to as the energy capital. We have so many different companies here. Many of them are independents. We hear about Chevron and ExxonMobil, but your company, you're considered independent petroleum, the chairman of that organization. Talk a little bit about the kinds of things that independent petroleum producers do that we may not be aware of. You certainly carry a big burden of what's going on in terms of production.
And that's a great question, because I think most people know an industry by the way you touch and feel it, and most of us touch and feel the energy industry by filling up our cars once a week, and you see an Exxon or Chevron sign at the gas station. The fact is that in America, almost 95% of the wells drilled in this country are drilled by independent producers. There are about 18,000 independent producers that average about 12 employees, so it's a classic small business industry, and they're located in over 30-plus states in this country. Driving increased oil production, driving increased natural gas production. If you actually look at that, independence have caused this revolution in shale that you hear people talk about. They've substantially developed, and now we recognize this new supply of natural gas that we have here in this country that can power our country for 100-plus years. We're doing the same thing on the liquid side. The industry has been so successful, in fact, that while the price of gasoline is going up, the price of natural gas has gone down substantially and is in the mid-$2 right now, and making some plays uneconomic.
We talked about the shale, and your company does a lot of that, does it not, in terms of natural gas production and whatnot? Talk a little bit about that process, because I know that there's a lot of horizontal drilling that goes on. There's what we talk, nickname is fracking, I think.
Right.
That's gotten a lot of attention lately. Talk about that, if you will, about that helps and how much of that you do for the production that you have and how safe it is.
Yeah,
or isn't.
We do quite a bit, as does most of the industry, and most of the industry has moved a lot of that activity into what we call liquid-rich plays, oil and natural gas liquids, because the economics are better there. Our company probably last year and again this year will spend 70 to 80% of our capital budget on development of resource plays. Horizontal drilling, multi-stage fracking, using hydraulic fracturing as a completion technique to develop that. Those technological advances have made these plays economic. The industry's known the source rock's been there. We couldn't develop them commercially, but technology allows us to do that. It's a very safe procedure. We drill vertically and then turn the drill bit horizontally. We can go down anywhere from 1 mile to 3 miles vertically and then out 1 mile or more horizontally. And then we separate that horizontal wellbore into stages and complete each one of those stages. Hydraulic fracturing, or fracking as people have come to know it, is really just a completion method. It's a completion method that the industries, in fact, started using back in 1948, so we've been using it for over 60 years. It's very safe. It's never been proven to contaminate a freshwater reservoir ever. The real issue there is not so much the fracking completion method as it is the well design and the integrity of the casing program. The integrity of the casing program actually goes back 150 years since the industry started drilling wells. The importance of having a good casing program, not just to protect the freshwater aquifers, but to be sure that the hydrocarbons that you are trying to get out of the wellbore come up the wellbore and don't come up somewhere else.
And I know that the fracking process uses a tremendous amount of water.
It does.
And with a state like Texas, when water is such a critical resource, how do you get around using water that we would need for our own needs, for example?
Well, that's another good question, and it's been a question for the state, particularly, and it can be a question in some of the different regions. Texas, partly because of the drought, the Railroad Commission actually put together a task force to focus on the development of the Eagle Ford Shale in South Texas. The Eagle Ford Shale is expected to be the largest economic impact South Texas has ever had in its entire history. And a lot of that's going to be drilling all these horizontal wells and fracking them, what will use a lot of water. Well, they just completed a study and have concluded that there is sufficient water in the aquifers in South Texas to handle all the wells that are going to be drilled for the development over the next many, many years. And so I know studied that issue.
And I know that you've obviously heard, people who are concerned about the ecological impacts that there may be as a result of that, concerns about contaminating those things. And you're feeling confident that that's not going to be an issue.
I'm completely confident, and I appreciate people's concerns, and I would be concerned if I were in a neighborhood too. And what I tell people is you just need to go find out the facts, and we're happy to explain them. I think our industry needs to do a better job recognizing we've taken the development of our product into new communities, particularly in Pennsylvania and New York and other states. Not so much South Texas are used to it, but go in there and educate the local people and the local communities and help them understand exactly what we do, how we do it, and why it's safe. When you understand the facts, you get comfortable with it.
Well, as we said before we started doing this, it was like a continuation of lunch for us. I want to go ahead and get some more information. Well, would you come back and talk some more about these issues as they come up?
I would be happy to. It's always great visiting with you, Cambrell. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. In the meantime, are we going to see $4 a gallon gas, you think?
I would expect to see $4 gasoline, yes, sir.
That's not what I wanted to hear.
Sure it's not. I think we in the industry would rather not get there also, but I don't see that picture changing.
Good. Well, I hope that doesn't happen. Maybe you're wrong on that one. We'll see, though. But thank you, Bruce, for coming in. We appreciate it.
Here.
Now, Bruce Vincent, president of Swift Energy, for coming in this morning. Coming up, it is Black History Month, and a good time to reflect on how diversity has made our city. Visit the African American Library at the Gregory School, a historical treasure in Freedmanstown in the Fourth Ward. Stay tuned.